because I'd like you to experience how we demonstrate mindfulness. How many of you have done this exercise? It's with an object that we think we know all about. It's called a raisin, right? How many of you have read about the raisin and used this exercise? Okay, so the challenge is fresh minds. That's the challenge. The other challenge is it's a big room. I have 4 bowls. I'd like everyone to take at least 2 objects. If you're at the back of the room or the front of the room, if you're waiting for your object, what's going on? What's going to be like to wait? And here's what we're going to do. So, I'm going to pass these objects around. If you're at home, please, I recommend if you have some raisins around, if you could get them. If you don't, because it's too late, use something that has texture to it, that's familiar, that you can actually smell, put to your ear. If you don't have that and it would be disruptive, use your hands. You can examine hands, okay? So those of you who are at home. But for those of you in this room, I have not touched them with my hands. And if you could take at least 2 and imagine you've never seen them before. And this person who's around my height, wearing what I'm wearing, is handing them to you. And she's smiling at you. And she's asking that you take at least 2 and just examine it with your senses. But do not put it, let's see, do not put it in your mouth. And if you're waiting, just let yourself feel what it is to be sitting here, breathing here. If you haven't received it yet, which you probably haven't, what's that like? But just really notice how many ways can you describe it, beginning with feeling and visual. What does it look like? Do you have one? Do you have more than one? I do have some judgment about them. Why are some small? Why are some big? I like this one. I don't like that one. You know, in other words, can you look at it fresh, new eyes? I can bring it back if you want. Oh, okay. And if you're waiting, where is your attention? What would you? You could look at your hand too. What are you noticing about it? You're looking at is it interesting? Are you bored? You think, oh, time to manicure my nails. So, what is it to do nothing? Can you do nothing? What's that like? If you're looking at the objects and you're hungry, what happens then? If you don't like them, if you look at them and you remember how much you really dislike these objects, what happens then? All thoughts. And does it make a sound? If you put it by your ear, what is that like? If you manipulate one of them, what changes? How does it feel? Does it have a smell? I know everyone has a good, at least 2. Are they the same? What's different? Does everyone have some now? Just at the end, getting it, right? And just when you think you've seen everything you could about these objects and felt everything and have all kinds, just do it again. What else can you discover? and then choosing one of the objects. And this is forming an intention now to pick it up. And we're going to place it on the tongue, but we're not going to bite into it. Okay? And I recommend closing your eyes. I'm just noticing, what's that like? What does it feel like on your tongue? What happens in your mouth? Anything? Do you keep it in the same place? And then taking one bite into it and then waiting a couple of breaths before you take a second bite. What occurs after you take one bite? What's that like, pressing into the object? What happens to the saliva? You're keeping it in the same place again. Where is it? What changes, if anything? And then a second bite, and again, really pausing to bring awareness to what occurs. At least 2 breaths. And then a third time, and pausing again. So we're going to do this very slowly, really with full mindfulness, to experience change, to really feel the object as it transforms and eventually is no longer on your tongue. Where does it go? What happens? What else goes on in the body? What thoughts are there around this? Come back to experiencing, using your senses. Do you want to rush it? Have you already eaten it? If you need another object, raise your hands. I'll bring some more over. Is it boring? Is it interesting? Can you be curious? What happens with your tongue? I always notice something a little different each time I do this. It's taking longer than you expected. Is your relationship to it altered in any way as time goes on? And when it's no longer on your tongue, when you no longer are able to touch it on the top of the tongue or feel it in your mouth, returning to the body and feeling the body as it sits here. And then you should have at least one other object in your hands, maybe more. And you have a choice. You can look at them or it, touch it, and bringing this one to your mouth, only this time, and I recommend closing the eyes, being able to digest it any way you like without my instruction. Just notice what that is.